The morning CNA News Report. Today, as the world situation concerning the cost of living escalates, we will hear from three different reporters: Miss Wynn in the UK, Mr. Aditya in Singapore, and Miss Shihan in China. Today, this is what is happening with the rising costs of living in the world. Various countries are seeing their prices of normal living products rise as inflation occurs. This is because prices are rising due to increase in production costs because of a sudden demand for products and services by customers, causing inflation as those consumers are willing to pay more for their needs. Now, we are going to hear from reporter Miss Wynn in the UK.
So Jess, here in the UK, the crisis of the cost of living has greatly eroded the value of the single dollar. Though recently the growth rate has lost momentum, inflation has still hit a record high of 10.1%. The cost of services has expanded 0.4% and is driving growth in the economy. But production and manufacturing have fallen a further 0.3% after an earlier decrease of 0.9%. The pandemic has not been kind to the UK as well, as this graph shows the massive decrease in the UK's GDP as opposed to Germany's. Due to this rapid inflation, the value of money has decreased. This poses a serious threat to everyday people. The value of the money in their hands will have decreased. This has led to people being unable to pay for their rent, to pay their bills, to pay for their gas, to pay for anything. However, our sources in The Guardian state that the UK inflation has dropped to 9.9% after the drop in petrol prices.
And now passing on to Mr. Aditya in Singapore.
Thank you, Jess. We're also experiencing the inflation of the cost of living here in Singapore, just like Miss Wynn had mentioned from the UK. Singapore was named the world's most expensive city for 6 out of the last 7 years. The results are derived from a comparison between cities or countries in the terms of the price of 138 products and services worldwide. From 2014 to 2019, Singapore was ranked the world's most expensive city to live in. Even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic in the recent 2020, Singapore was listed in the top 5 most expensive cities. The estimated monthly cost of living in Singapore is around $2,560. The cost of living, education, healthcare, and many more affect the price of living here in Singapore. According to the Singapore Business Review, 7 out of 10 Singaporeans are worried about the cost of living. 31% of Singaporeans have no financial plan, with 24% saying that they aren't able to commit to savings investments. 75% of the total population here say they're ready to make lifestyle sacrifices in order to enjoy a better future, while 70% feel worried about their ability to cover healthcare costs in retirement.
Aditya, now passing on to Ms. Shihan.
The cost of living in China is falling as Beijing takes control of the real estate sector, raising concerns about economic growth both domestically and globally. China's real estate market is in the midst of a slow-moving crisis. Property prices have plummeted as authorities try to rein in unsustainable debate and market speculations. Thousands of home buyers are refusing to pay their mortgages on per-sale properties as developers struggle to complete housing projects on time. Real estate account for 15% to 30% of China's domestic mass production global GDP, and the markets wars have also created a second world trouble for the economy that could lend to growth.
This is the end of today's reporting for the global situation of today. You've been watching News CNA.